Hello, hello, my amigos. Show with no namers all around the world. It is time for liftoff.
10, 9, 8, 7.
Let's go.
6, 5.
Come on.
4.
Get up there.
3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition.
Come on.
Liftoff. Liftoff. 30 minutes after the hour.
Let's go, amigos. We are in for a treat. Una sorpresa nos espera.
Get ready. Hold on to your hat. Strap on your seatbelt. Fasten your seatbelts. Hold on to your hat. Get ready for the ride of your life. The show with no name tonight on Vaughn Radio. It's a show with no name.
Let's go. Come on. Everybody in. Let's do this. Let's do this like we never knew this, baby. Come on. Show. Show with no name. Sing it. Yeah, folks. Now you're feeling it. Welcome back to another exciting edition of the show with no name, where you guys bring the magic, and you're eager, con muchas ganas, to learn English, to enrich yourselves, and to have tons of fun in the process. Lo que quieras. Bet your bottom dollar we are going to have a blast today here on the show, as we do every day. So wherever you're tuning in from, thank you. Whenever you're tuning in, whether it's at midnight, at 2 a.m., whenever it's convenient for you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you to all of our Vaughn Radio students. You guys are the bomb diggity. And if you want to join us in class, you can do that, folks. Go over to grupovaughn.com and take a look at all the exciting options. You've got your master's program, your evening masters, camps for the kids, one-to-one, group classes. And if you're looking for self-study, you can mosey on over. Eso es, mosey on over to grupovaughn.com or vaughntienda.com and discover all the amazing things we have to help you improve your English. But still, one of the most impressive things for me that this company does, and we've got a radio, we've had a TV, we've done a little bit of everything. We had a magazine that came out every month with audio, but one of the things that I think is the most groundbreaking and revolutionary is Vaughntown. Listen carefully. Can you hear that? No. Listen closer. I'm not talking about the birds chirping. I'm talking about everybody speaking English and feeling comfortable. Listen. This is what it's like at Vaughntown, a peaceful place where you can really learn English and lose your inhibitions. There's a reason it's one of our star programs. Vaughntown, lose your fear of speaking English. If you want more information about this immersive experience, go to grupovaughn.com or give us a call, 911-385831. Lose your fear of speaking English and express yourself with clarity at Vaughntown. That's right, folks. I'll never forget that day. I went into the office and it was my interview, and it was with, well, we got to get some inspirational music on here. I'm telling you guys, something from the pit of my soul. And I didn't know anybody here in Madrid, really, a handful of people that were kind enough to me in the first week or two, because I'd only been here about 2 or 3 weeks. And I remember reading the ad for Grupo Von, and I said, wow, they're describing me. And, well, one thing led to another. I get an email from a guy named Fitz. Look at the irony of life. I'm right after him on the air. You can listen to Fitz every day, and his knowledge from thousands of hours teaching students and teachers alike. And I remember I went in there. I got they called me in for an interview. And as I was walking up the stairs, I remember their office was in Eduardo Dato at that time. And I was walking up the stairs, and I remember seeing a write-up, an article. A write-up is another way of saying an article. And it said, Richard Vaughan, emprendedor. And he's an entrepreneur, we say in English. We use the French word. And they said, monta un pueblo en inglés. He sets up an English town in the middle of Segovia, in the middle of Spain. And I thought, what? I mean, it was just, for me, I said, okay, I've heard of language academies. I've heard of language academies having an AV department. You know what this is? An AV department is an audio-visual department, which isn't, most of them don't. Well, nowadays with social media, it's good to be able to make quick videos to help people like we have on our social media. By the way, if you're not following, follow us on social media. And I'll never forget when I saw that write-up. It was just a second before I met Fitz in person. And by the way, the interview went well. I thought to myself, I would have a beer with this guy. And fast forward, Fitz was at my house a couple of weekends ago having some beers. So I just remember, though, being like, wow, I really want to work for a company that's not just teaching English, but whatever their business is, that they are innovating, they're changing the game forever. And I feel like Vaughn, I'm not trying to be preachy here. I feel like we've been trying to do that since day one, change the game. And that's what Richard Vaughn did. When he got here, he realized that the English teaching industry, English learning, el aprendizaje was lacking professionalism and dynamism. And he made those two things like his core, dynamism and professionalism. I remember how strict Fitz was with, being there on time. I'll never forget this story. And I'm sharing a lot of stories here, but you know what? They all have their reason. There's each one of them means something. And I'll remember this. And Fitz, really what he did here was showed us that he wasn't joking around, that he meant business. And to mean business es ir en serio. And a girl came in, and she was a minute late, maybe 2, but it didn't matter. He said, be 5 or 10 minutes early. Don't be here on time. Be here early, because then you're prepared. Then you get here, you take out your stuff, like as if you were in your class, only we're the students in the training program. And he made that very clear. He goes, I don't want you here at 9. I want you here 10 to 9. Did anybody have any questions? Well, the next day, a girl walked in at 9:02. And the worst part was she didn't just walk in. She walked in with a sourpuss look on her face. Una mirada de pocos amigos, you say. Like, you know what? Don't even ask me questions about, where I was or why I'm late. And everybody felt it. And Fitz took her outside, said, can you come on over here? He didn't want to do it in front of anybody. And I don't know what he said, but it took him about 30 seconds to tell her, you don't have to come back. You don't have to stay here. We're not gonna continue training you. And he came back in and he said, well, she won't be joining us. He was very, very cool, calm, and collect. It didn't ruffle his feathers, as we say. And he just calmly said, well, she won't be joining us anymore. And we all knew why. It wasn't just that she was late after he had told us a million times, you cannot be late. It's not professional. It is totally unprofessional. But he also was talking about how important having the right attitude was. You know, with your students, with the clients, because sometimes I remember I didn't just have to deal with my students. I had to deal with HR, recursos humanos in a big company. So they taught us you got to be professional. And that was, you know, he didn't say anything, but he said everything. So there's my Fitz stories. Well, hey, he's a swell guy. Un tío super único. And you can tune into his show every day right before this show. It's the perfect, I mean, I can't say it any clearer. There's no better way to get warmed up, to change the chip, to be ready for the show with no name, than by listening to the one and only Fitz. And I'm telling you, I fell in love with the guy since day one. And I don't mean that. I mean that in a purely platonic way, Fitz, if you're listening. I'm sure you know that. I mean, you're a good-looking guy and everything, but not my type. Not my sex. All right. Well, folks, Vaughn Radio, download the free app, and this way you can take Vaughn Radio with you wherever, whenever. All right, folks, it's time for today's pop quiz. Come on, let me hear you. I'm serious. I'm like Fitz. I'm not playing games. Pop quiz. Sing it. Come on. Warm up those vocal cords. Come on. Pop quiz. You get pumped, guys. Motivate. I go big, you go bigger. And then we start this snowball, and it's explosive. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Sing it. Pop quiz. All right, amigos. It is our pop quiz, and this is where I get some content off of social media or perhaps out of one of our books from the Vaughn Tienda, and we work on a concept together, an idea, right? Every day we do a different kind of exercise because we don't just look at a translation, right? If you notice, we try and get it, really get it. We look at the nuances, los matices, and we try and really grasp the concept. So don't ever think of it like we're going to do 3 translations. No. We're trying to understand a concept. Today, conditionals, baby. Oh, I know you don't even like them in Spanish. Habría si hubiese, hubiese si habría si hubiera. What the man, I know. You want to know a little secret here? Americans, people from my country, including educated people. There are some, I promise. I mean, this is pretty crazy here. They use it wrong. So, let me give you the correct way to say it, and then I'll tell you the way we say it. So normally, you would say, a ver si lo sabéis vosotros primero. A ver si lo sé en español. Hubiese ido a tu fiesta si habría tenido dinero. So in English, a lot of people say, I would have gone to your party if I would have had money. That's wrong. That is 110% wrong. Now, according to the grammar books, don't correct a native. That's not cool. I've heard laísmos, and I'm like, oh, delante mío. And I'm like, it's delante de mí. I think the mío thing is made up, right? O lo han aceptado ya. Well, either way, I'm not going around trying to correct people. It's my job. That's why I do it, right? And I don't do it in my normal life. So we say, I would have gone to your party if I would have had money. That's wrong. I would have gone to your party if I had had money. I would have gone if I had. Primero vamos a descontraerlo y luego lo contraemos para lo más natural. I would have gone to your party if I had had money. Say it with me, because that's so unnatural, but just so you know what we're putting together, to visualize it. I would have participio if you had participio, la buena noticia. Son dos participios. Si es el mismo verbo, es la misma forma del verbo. I wouldn't have broken my arm if you hadn't broken your arm. ¿Ves? El broken y el broken. Eso es un truco ahí. Y es el mismo tiempo verbal, pero le acompaña, no es el participio, pero le acompaña would have en una parte de la cláusula y had en la otra. Pero ¿qué pasa? Would have se convierte en would have o woulda. I would have gone to your party if you had invited me. And if you had invited me, lo contraemos. If you'd invited me, y muchas veces no se oye ni esa D. If you'd invited me. So it's said so low that people don't know it. All right, so let's go over all three of the main conditionals. The first one, which we'll call the future conditional because it makes more sense than the first conditional. ¿Qué me dice la palabra first conditional? Absolutely nothing, right? But if I tell you future conditional, now we're talking. I'm talking about something in the future. So, vamos a practicar calentando con el future conditional. The first one. Let me see. This is a good one. Si llueve, nos mojaremos. Logical, right? Si llueve, nos mojaremos. If it rains, we will, contraemos siempre, we'll get wet. Ahora, lo bueno de este condicional es igual en español. Si llueve, presente. If it rains, present. We'll get wet. Nos mojaremos, futuro. So, for all intents and purposes, a todos los efectos, it's the same. Even though I don't want you translating, if you get stuck, si ves que te atrancas ahí, dices, ¿qué? ¿Cómo va esto? Just remember that. So if it rains, we'll get wet. Let's turn it into a question. Who can do it for me? Will we get wet? Toma, trabalenguas. Will we get wet if it rains? Will we get wet if it rains? That's a tongue twister. No, we won't get wet if it rains because we have an umbrella. Y ahí no solo has mirado la afirmación, has mirado. You looked at how to say it in the negative and in the question, right? If it rains, we'll get wet. Will we get wet if it rains? No, we won't get wet if it rains, negación, because I have an umbrella, Ella. I know I sound just like her. All right, here's another one. Habrá una fiesta si la casa está libre. Y como siempre lo vamos a poner en pregunta. Pero empezamos con afirmar. Habrá una fiesta si la casa está libre. Ok, vamos a descontraerlo. There will be a party if the house is free. There will be a party if the house is free. Good. There will be. Pero too much. What about there'll be? There'll be a party if the house is free. So futuro. Habrá si la casa está libre. Same tenses. Question. Will there be a party if the house is free? Will there be a party if the house is free? Tell me no. No, there won't be a party if the house is free. Not in my house. You can do it at your house. All right, one more just to warm up. And then I'm going to give you, I wanted to go over all three of them. So let's do that first because I figure why not? So the first one, the one we're looking at right now, is the future conditional. The next one, they call it the second conditional or the present conditional. So let's take the same question that we just looked at. Okay, if it rained, we'd get wet. If it rained right now, we would get wet. Present conditional. So let's use the same sentence. Futuro condicional. I'll go if I have money. I will go. I'll go if I have money. Futuro. Presente. I would go, contraemos, I'd go if I had money, más pasado. O sea, eso es would, infinitivo, más pasado. Right? I would eat more pizza if I didn't get fat. Right? Pasado. So that's even though it uses the past, it's the present conditional. I would right now. I will in the future es el primero. Y el otro, el que los americanos usamos mal, como te digo, es la primera que hemos mirado. I would have gone if she had gone with me. I would have gone if she had gone with me. All right, so here's another one. And then I'm going to give you 3 different ones that we're going to take a look at. All right. Si estudias cada día, aprenderás mucho. If you study every day, you'll learn a lot. If you study every day, you'll learn a lot. All right, now it's your turn. I hope you've been repeating these either way. Now I'm going to mix them. Os voy a dar los 3. Okay, the first one. Y dame los 3 juntos, por favor. ¿A dónde irás si no te quedas aquí? ¿A dónde irás si no te quedas aquí? ¿Te ayudaría si tuviera suficiente dinero? ¿Te ayudaría si tuviera suficiente dinero? And nos quedamos con la fiesta. Si hubiera habido fiesta, ellos no habrían ido. ¿Ves? Es dificilísimo, ¿eh? Si hubiera habido fiesta, ellos no habrían ido. These are really tough, guys. I'll give them to you one more time, just to make sure you got them. ¿A dónde irás? So I can even tell you, para que lo puedes calcular en tu cabeza. Esto es el futuro condicional, el que es igual al español. Más o menos, hay excepciones como siempre. ¿A dónde irás si no te quedas aquí? That's your first one. Futuro más, right? We looked at that one. The next one is present conditional. Te ayudaría si tuviera suficiente dinero. Is the second one. Esto es el presente condicional, el de would y el pasado. Okay? Y acuérdate, lo vamos a poner en pregunta. Pero ahora solo quiero las frases. And we're going to master this. Well, not master, but we're going to get it. And the last one, which is probably going to be the hardest one, because it's the hardest in Spanish too, como hemos visto. Habría habido. It's crazy. It's insane. And that one is, si hubiera habido fiesta, ellos no habrían ido. All right, amigos. And I'll tell you what, while you're thinking those through, I have an idea. We can just, we got to buy some time over here whenever we can. So let's listen to today's Say What soundbite. Say what? What? The remix, the remix, the remix, the remix.
My father, 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 my father.
Hey, you got the first 2 words. Ya sé que estoy chiflado. I know I'm wacky. I try to avoid it, but I can't help it. No lo puedo evitar. We know the first 2 words of today's Say What soundbite are my father. Bueno, es lo que acabo de poner on repeat over there. That sample, como lo llamamos, a sample es como un trocito de una canción. Literalmente la palabra muestra. All right, here's your Say What soundbite. You're going to hear it 4 times as always. Pay close attention and write down what you hear.
My father, I had ADD. There's no name for it. They had a different name. Run around this house again. Run around this house one more time like you lost your mind. Now sit down. Quit shaking. Get yourself together, boy. He cured me of my ADD with no drug.
All right, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back with tons more Show with No Name. So stick around. Hey, amigos, welcome back. Welcome back to the Show with No Name. This is part 2. Hope you're having fun on this fantastic Friday. Yeah, hey, 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 hey. Come on, get into it. Get down, boogie, boogie. Get up. Get down. Yeah. All right. Okay, amigos, welcome back. Welcome back to part 2 of today's show. Hope you've learned a lot of stuff in part 1. We're looking at crazy conditionals today, and I know they're a pain in the ass. A pain in the neck, si no queremos ser vulgares. Pero hay veces que... Man... Same as prepositions. How can 2 little letters be so tricky? In, on, at. Oh my God. Las veces que he tenido alumnos decir, estoy encima de tu mesa. I'm like, get off my desk. It's not made to hold people. I'm not in my desk, mi mesa de trabajo, or on it. Dentro, pues maybe I kept you as a prisoner. You're in the drawer, in el cajón. If you're on my desk, I'll tell you to get down. And if you're at my desk, well, then we can have a chat, my amigos. All right, well, we've got a lot to do, so why don't we listen to today's Say What soundbite again, and then we'll take a look at what you guys heard. Remember, you're going to have 4 chances. You've already heard it once, and here's the second listen.
My father, I had ADD. There's no name for it. They had a different name. Run around this house again. Run around this house one more time like you lost your mind. Now sit down. Quit shaking. Get yourself together, boy. He cured me of my ADD with no drug.
All right, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That is your second listen, and I'm going to give you the third listen right now. Why? Because I've got a little surprise up my sleeve. So we're going to do things a little bit out of order today, but that's good, because that'll keep you guys on your toes. Al loro, you say. All right, here we go. This is the third, right? Yeah. 1, 2, third listen of the Say What soundbite.
My father, I had ADD. There's no name for it. They had a different name. Run around this house again. Run around this house one more time like you lost your mind. Now sit down. Quit shaking. Get yourself together, boy. He cured me of my ADD with no drug.
All right, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. There you go. Now, I should tell you this, since it's a video, when he says, go ahead and do that again, or algo, something to that effect. Vamos, haz eso otra vez. What he's doing, the gesture, está gesticulando en el video, he's gesturing like he's going to grab his belt. Como que si se va a quitar, agarrar el cinturón. So, does that make sense now? He's like, oh yeah, you want to run around? Hold on one second. Let me get, we all know, even though I never got beaten by a belt in my life, we all know the symbolism of, you want me to take, I remember my uncle, he was the funniest. My uncle Paco, he was like, I'm going to take, I'm like, you're not even wearing a belt, man. You don't have to. I'm like, you're wearing elastic shorts over here. What do you mean? So a very important piece of context there. When he says, when he's playing the role of his dad, because he's obviously a storyteller, a comedian or something, and he's playing the role of his dad, he goes like he's going to take off his belt, como si se iba a quitar el cinturón. All right, let's take a look at today's pop quiz. I see we've got a lot of people participating, and a nice round of applause for all our show with no namers all around the world. Around the world. All around the world. That's right, show with no namers. It's a pleasure to have you here with us. All right, the first one. Here it is. ¿A dónde irás si no te quedas aquí? Where will you go if you don't stay here? Where will you go, or where'll you go if you don't stay here? Right? Futuro más presente. Where will you go if you don't stay here? Contéstamelo. Si no te quedas aquí conmigo, ¿dónde vas a ir? If I don't stay here with you, I'll go to Japan. Why not? It's always a good time to go to Japan, right? So answer the question, right? If I don't stay here with you, o lo podemos hacer al revés. I'll go to Japan if I don't stay here with you. Lo importante es que cada uno en su fórmula, ¿no? All right, good. Let's take a look at the present conditional here. Te ayudaría si tuviera suficiente dinero. I would help you, pero vamos a contraerlo, porque nos gusta. I'd help you if I had enough money. I would presente if I pasado. So I would go if I took a shower. So I would go, I would help you, perdona, te cambié el verbo. Y yo lo contraería siempre. I'd help you if I had the money. Pregúntame, ¿me ayudarías si tuvieras el dinero? Come on. Did you say would you? ¿Quieres sonar más nativo? Would you? Would you? Would you help me if you had enough money? Would you help me? Would you help me if you had enough money? I guess. I guess I would help you if I had enough money. ¿Ves? Y así, you're almost having a conversation with yourself. But again, the more you do that, the more we see that you get the question, the answer. Because why? Sometimes you'll be asked a question. Sometimes you'll answer a question. Sometimes you'll say no. So you need to know how to do all of it. All right. And the last one, which I think is a humdinger. Vamos a ver cómo ponen la palabra humdinger aquí. Humdinger. A humdinger. Una maravilla, but I mean it in a negative way. This one's a real humdinger. A humdinger. All right. And this one is, si hubiera habido fiesta, ellos no habrían ido. If there had been a party, they wouldn't have gone. So if there had been, remember, it's had más participio, y el there más to be es el haber. If there had been a party, they wouldn't have, or wouldn't have, or wouldn't have, como lo pronunciaría yo, they wouldn't have gone. They wouldn't have or wouldn't have. Pero no wouldn't have. Nunca. Nunca. Eso es para que te enteras que es un have, pero a la hora de decirlo no tiene nada que ver con have. I would have gone. They would have gone. Right? So if there had been a party, they wouldn't have gone. Ask me. Si hubiera habido una fiesta, ¿habrían ido? Now we're getting pretty tough here. If there had been a party, would they have gone? If there had been a party, would they have gone? All right, well, folks, this was not easy, but you guys nailed it, as you always do. Wonderful job, but we'll see how well you do in today's Spelling Bee.
Spelling Bee. Spelling Bee. Spelling Bee. Spelling Bee. Spelling Bee.
That's right, amigos. That's right. It's our Spelling Bee only on the show with no name. And again, this is probably one of the more challenging sections on our show every day. But I know you guys, and I know you're going to be able to pull it off. Lo vais a poder hacer con facilidad. So, as always, in round one, you guys are going to suffer. Well, some of you don't. Some of you seem to get it pretty easily. I personally would suffer if I were in your shoes and I had to get it that fast. So good job to those of you who are here every day doing this section, because it's a tough, depending on the day, there are maybe double troubles really hard one day, but all in all, this is the most difficult section, especially round one. The first one is, and these have to be capitalized. I forgot to say it. Here we go. The first one is OSCAR space THE space GROUCH. The next one is COOKIE space MONSTER. The third one is KERMIT space THE space FROG. The fourth one is BERT space ampersand space ERNIE. The next one is GUY space SMILEY. And the last one is MR period space SNUFFLEUPAGUS. And I'm going to give you a little clue. Woo! Come on. Come on. Funny class, learning a lot real fast. Let's have fun. We will have a blast. Can you tell me how to get to FYI? Woo! Yeah. We'll discover singular, stimulating, sensational, and educational Sesame Street on this week's episode of FYI. Chasing the... Welcome to For Your Info.
Inglés.
You got it. Here you go, folks. So a little clue. It has something to do with Sesame Street. Did you like my song, by the way? Funny class, learning a lot real fast. All right, and speaking of learning a lot real fast, we've got some winners. Nice job. What? Are you friggin' kidding me? Are you serious, man? Holy guacamole. All right, well, I'm going to go through these a second time, and now I think everybody should be able to keep up. Mantener el ritmo. The first one is OSCAR space THE space GROUCH. The second one is COOKIE space MONSTER. The third one is KERMIT space THE space FROG. The fourth one is BERT space ampersand space ERNIE. The fifth one, GUYSMILEY. And the sixth one is MR period space SNUFFLEUPAGUS. Oh my God, even going slow, I'm out of breath here, guys. Me he quedado sin aliento. All right, well, as many of you have figured it out, there it is. Sesame Street. Now, for you, it's a neighborhood. For us, it's a street. Barrio Sésamo. And what an educational program. And it all started today in 1969 in the United States. National Educational Television, which later became PBS. PBS is the public broadcasting station. So it's one of the free stations, right? And they debuted Sesame Street today in 1969. The show is so old, but kids and adults, if you want to, you can learn from it. Who said you can't learn English from it? V, B, 1, 2, 3. You can learn how to count. You can learn letters. Hey, they do spelling bees as well. And I think it's probably one of the greatest educational institutions ever. If you haven't heard the episode, the Sesame Street episodes, remember, there are 2 episodes of FYI. If you're a member, you can get an extra episode and additional content. But if not, you get a free episode every Friday. And if you haven't heard the Sesame Street one, I mean, they're all fun, but this one is tons of fun. Sesame Street. All right, let's take a look then at the characters that I have chosen. The first one is probably my favorite, and his name is Oscar the Grouch. I don't know their names in Spanish, but Oscar the Grouch, El Gruñón, he lives in a garbage can. The British say a bin or a trash can. He has a green, it's a good way to, we'll describe them each, okay? So he has a green body. He doesn't have a nose, at least one that we can see. He lives in a trash can, as we already said. His favorite thing is trash. He's even got a song called I Love Trash. And he's a grouch, un cascarrabias. And he's one of my favorite characters. Now, the original version of the puppet was orange, but I don't want to give you too many fun facts because then you're not going to listen to the episode on these awesome characters. So the first one, Oscar the Grouch. You say Oscar, we say Oscar. Y el gruñón, el cascarrabias, what do you call him? The next one is a classic. I think everybody in the world loves this next one. He's just so lovable. I'm talking about good old Cookie Monster, the Blue Muppet. And he is just a lovely guy, but not the healthiest eater, right? He also I wouldn't follow his grammar because he always uses me to refer to himself in place of I, my, or mine. So don't listen to Cookie Monster if you want to speak good English. And don't follow his eating habits either. A cookie is okay from time to time, but an apple a day, que sigue esa frase? An apple a day keeps the doctor away. And we looked at that in the hospitals episode of FYI. All right. And he's got googly eyes, which are like, no, por todos lados, como atontados, googly eyes, que también de enamorado, those kind of eyes, right? And definitely lovable. I'll never forget when I went to Japan. I was at Universal Studios in Osaka, and I have never seen people go so crazy I was wearing my Cookie Monster t-shirt, and it's a bunch of cookies tying him down, atándole. And he's trying to break free. And people were taking pictures with me. I was like, wow, I should start selling Cookie Monster memorabilia here in Japan. Next up, this is the funniest one because people have been telling me about this guy my whole life here in Spain. So they say, ¿Cómo te llamas, tío? I'm like, Alberto Gustavo. And they're like, como la rana. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about, man? What the heck? Sorry, no quiero ser vulgar. What the heck are you talking about, man? La rana Gustavo. And then I realized many years later, it wasn't the first, second, or third time that they were referring to Kermit the Frog. Oh my geez. Kermit the Frog, La Rana Gustavo. Well, there you go. Another one that threw me off, que me desconcertó, is Bert and Ernie. You guys call them Epi y Blas. Bert and Ernie. And I got to say something. Bert and Ernie, funny, lovable guys. And there are a lot of rumors about their friendship as well, which I won't get into here on the show. The next one, Guy Smiley. And I think that's a great name for, a character that's got a microphone who's on TV. He was like every time they had a game show, hacían un juego de estos de la tele, like my friend Roberto Leal, he always did the game show. So he was the game show host. And, he was always smiling, and he was always like, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Like high energy, like a TV host usually does. So, and you know who performed this role? Jim Henson. He did a lot of the voices. But again, I'm not going to get into too much detail because I want you guys to listen to the fascinating episode on these characters. So Guy Smiley was the fifth one. And the sixth one, and I don't know, did you guys have, I know you guys had Piojo, or what was his name? Piolín. No, Picolín. You called him something. I know you have one, Spinete. That's what you called him. Spinete. Well, we didn't have Spinete, but I don't think you had Big Bird, which is one of the most famous characters as well. Big Bird. Well, another one that was really famous in the United States, and I don't know if you have him over here, but his name is Mr. Snuffleupagus. Snuffleupagus. And what does Snuffleupagus mean? Absolutely nothing. Yep. Snuffleupagus means nothing at all, but it's just a nonsensical word that became popular with the character. And he's a cross between a giant anteater, like un oso hormiguero, you say, and like an elephant. He's got a trunk, really funny. And he used to speak, he always spoke like he was stuffed up. And to be stuffed up is estar con, ¿cómo se dice? Congestión. So he was always, I'm happy to go with my friends. I'm very happy. You should watch at least one episode of classic Sesame Street. I think you guys are going to love it. Especially because, I mean, they were just amazing voices. A lot of them done by Jim Henson. Also another very talented guy, Frank Oz. So check it out. I've shared the link with you, but right now we've got to move on, amigos. It's time for Double Trouble.
Double trouble, baby. Yeah, you know what time it is. Give it up. Double trouble. I said double trouble. Double trouble. I said double trouble.
That's right, amigos. That's right. It's Double Trouble only on the show with no name. And let's see what we've got in store for you on today's Double Trouble. Is it going to be easy? Yeah, I think so. As I take a quick gander at it, I think it shouldn't be a problem for you guys, amigos. All right, here it is. Él arrancó la tirita. Okay. Él arrancó la tirita. Y entonces los constructores tiraron o derrumbaron, ¿no? La casa, su casa. Okay, so arrancó la tirita, something that you put on your finger when you get cut or you get hurt, right? So arrancó la tirita. Y entonces los constructores, los que estaban ahí, tiraron o derrumbaron su casa. There's your double trouble, amigos. Also, I'm going to give you the say what soundbite for the fourth time.
My father, I had ADD. There's no name for it. They had a different name. Run around this house again. Run around this house one more time like you lost your mind. Now sit down. Quit shaking. Get yourself together, boy. He cured me of my ADD with no drug.
All right, amigos, you know how this works. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll take a look at today's Double Trouble. We've got homophones, movie, famous birthdays. Man, we've got a lot of stuff to cover. And I've got a surprise for you. Well, hey, who doesn't like a surprise from time to time? I've always got a few surprises up my sleeve for my show with no-namers. So, my amigos, I hope you can join us after this quick commercial break. Grab a cup of Joe, una taza de café. Grab some Java, otra forma de decir café. Sí, una taza de Joe, Java. Or you can say it like we say it in New York, coffee. Grab a cup of coffee. Well, whatever you want to do it quickly because we'll be right back with tons more. Stick around. Hey, amigos, welcome back. Welcome back to this, the third part of today's show with no name, where we learn English, among other things. And remember, this is just one of the many shows you can learn from here on Vaughn Radio. You can start your day with Richard Vaughn Live, the Pro Bow Show with Rob Grams, Fitz. We already talked about him before. And his program, No Excuses. You've got Ximena Holiday and Test Your English. Speak Up with Ruby. Then you've got the Lunchtime Show with Rob and Andy. The Salad with Dave Boys. Kyle Miller's Drive Time. And don't forget, our latest presenter, Chris Frank, and his program, Frankly Speaking, every day from 7:30 to 8 p.m. Download the free app, and this way you can learn English with us on the go. You can learn English in the waiting room, en la sala de espera. You can learn English while you're on your commute, cuando te estás desplazando. You don't have to be bored ever again. Your mind can be stimulated nonstop. It's Vaughn Radio, and I urge you all to play along. Juega con nosotros. All of our programs are interactive. So let's play. We had to take a look at today's Double Trouble, and I don't know if it was the easiest one in the world, but I'll tell you what, before we take a look at the double trouble, let me give you, just to save time, I'm going to give you today's homophones.
Homophones on the show with no name. It's homophones time, cause homophones rhyme. They sound the same on the show with no name. The show with no name. Homophones on the show with no name. Cause homophones time, cause homophones rhyme. They sound the same on the show with no name. Show with no name. Show it home.
Yeah, folks. All right, let's get our homophones going. The first word is the past tense of the word arrancar. Wait, is that the word in today's homophone? In today's double trouble? Yeah, that's why I did this first. Well, some of you got it already, by the way, so great job. But I almost put the cart before the horse. Me adelanté ahí. All right, so the first one is the past tense of the verb to rip. But it's not rip. It's a synonym for the verb rip. And what is that? So it's fabric or paper. Romper, pero no algo de cristal. That would be to shatter. I'm talking about something that is fabric, tela. Vaya, tela. What fabric? And or something that is paper, right? My daughter does it all the time. So it's the past tense of that verb. All right? And the second word is the word hacer una gira. Okay? Girar. Hacer gira. Una gira, right? Lo vemos siempre en las camisetas. European gira europea. American, I know you know the word because it's a word that's used in the Spanish language. But I want to know if you know the first word too, and if you know if they sound exactly the same. All right, let's see. I've got a few people participating over here, and it seems like many of you are giving me the first word, which is T-O-R-E, which comes from the verb to tear. Not tear. Es la misma palabra, pero del contexto se sabe si es tear, que es un verbo regular. He teared up yesterday. Le salieron lágrimas, lloró. He teared up. Pero esto no, el pasado de romper no es teared. He teared it down. No, it's tore. So, tear, tore, torn. Que de hecho de ahí aprendemos la palabra entre dos tierras. No, when you can't make a decision. Nothing's right, I'm torn. I'm all out of space. You know this song? I think it's Natalie Imbruglia. All right, so the first one. Every day I tear up. Eso es destrozar a trozos. Every day I tear up documents. Yesterday I tore up documents. And lately I've torn up documents. Okay, so now that we've got that out of the way, tore, does that sound like la otra palabra? Absolutely. They did a tour and they tore it up. Do you know that one? Toma, esto es un double trouble. Y ahora vamos al double trouble. They did a tour. Bueno, suenan igual, son homófonos. They did a tour, hicieron una gira, and they tore it up. Y además, se puede usar como verbo. So you can just say they toured. They toured Europe for 3 months instead of do a tour, que es un poco más largo. So are they homophones? Yes. Hey, it's a good way to remember it. And to tear it up is arrasar, right? They tore it up. Es romperlo en trozos, pero en inglés también. Del contexto vemos que es algo muy, muy bueno. They tore it up, man. The audience went crazy. So yes, they are homophones. And now we've got to go over to our double trouble. And now that I gave you the word romper, arrancar, I think you might be able to figure it out. And I see that some have. So the first part, él arrancó la tirita. He tore off his Band-Aid. Now, Band-Aid is the registered trademark in the United States, but that's what we call them. It's like you with Kleenex. We say tissues. We don't really say, you can say Kleenex, but we say tissue. You have a tissue. So now, the British call them plaster. Plaster. Do you have a plaster? We don't. We call them Band-Aids. Apósito, tirita, you call it in Spanish. So a Band-Aid. And also we use it too in the figurative sense, like, man, this is a big problem. It needs more than a Band-Aid. No, esto es un problema muy gordo. Necesita mucho más que un parche, would be like the translation. No, necesitamos una solución real, no superficial, right? So it does make sense. And what's the first thing they tell you about Band-Aids? Don't tear it. If you pull it off slowly, it's going to hurt. Especially guys, hairy guys. Are you with me? Chicos peludos. Oh my God. It's probably one of the worst feelings in the world. And man, that's the scream I let out. So everybody knows you got to tear it off quickly. You just arrancar. So think about it. It's on your skin, right? It's not in your skin, right? The blood, all that is in your skin. So he tore off his Band-Aid or the Band-Aid, and then the builders tore down the house. So we already said to tear up is destrozar algo a trozos, como un contrato, right? And to tear something down es tirarlo, arrasarlo, tirarlo al suelo. So they tear down buildings. If you're any Pink Floyd fans in the house, I'm sure you know, if you've seen the movie or heard The Wall, they say, tear down the wall, tear down the wall. And if you haven't seen that movie, don't worry, because we've got another movie in store. In today's Name That Movie. Name That Movie. That's right, amigos. That's right. And by the way, you guys are doing a wonderful job. Great job to everybody who's participating, playing, and having fun with us every day here on the show with No Name. A quick reminder, up next, you've got the one and only Ximena Holiday. She is a wonderful person and a great teacher, and she will lead you through all these challenges. And all the challenges that she has on that show, they are all common mistakes. If you haven't noticed, a lot of the things that she looks at are like problem area. It depends on, or nothing. So what the best thing is, they're not just any translations. They're not just any tests. She's making sure that you guys don't screw up on some of the biggest mistakes out there. And that's great because she's done the homework. Vaughn, we've done the homework. So we don't need to waste time working on something that we think is not a problem area. So that's a great one if you want to work on some common mistakes right after today's show. It's Ximena Holiday. It's Test Your English. All right, well, now we're going to test your movie knowledge, my amigos. Let's give you today's trailer over here, and maybe let's get some epic music. Yeah, see? Everything's better with a little epic music. All right. When the daughter of a psychiatrist is kidnapped, he's horrified to discover that the abductor's demand is that he break through to a post-traumatic stress disorder suffering young woman who knows a secret. Whoa. Let's unpack that. There's a lot going on there. So, when the daughter of a psychiatrist, a shrink, se puede decir también, es más jerga, is kidnapped, secuestrada, he's horrified to discover, no? Horrified to discover that the abductor's demand, the kidnapper's demand, exigencias, is that he break through to. And to break through to somebody, buenísimo phrasal verb aquí, To break through to somebody is llegarle. Conseguir que te hagan caso. You know, to break through to, I can't break through to him. He's a teenager. I mean, he's not paying any attention to me. Maybe you as his uncle, maybe you as his cousin can break through to him or to get through to him. Es comunicar con él, pero con éxito. Right? Great phrasal verb if you didn't know it. So let me go back just so we can put it all in context. He's horrified to discover that the abductor's demand is that he break through to a PTSD. Nos ahorramos muchos sílabas. Post-traumatic stress disorder. Disorder, trastorno. PTSD. A PTSD suffering young woman who knows a secret. Oh my goodness. Sounds exciting, huh? All right, it looks like we may have some winners here, folks. Give it up for your classmates. Nice job, amigos. The movie is Don't Say a Word. Ni una palabra. Don't say a word. And it's a movie starring Brittany Murphy, the late difunta Brittany Murphy, who was also in 8 Mile, the Eminem one, and many other cool movies. And also this stars Michael Douglas, or as you say, Michael Douglas, or Kirk Douglas. Well, it's Don't Say a Word. It came out in 2001, and it stars Michael Douglas and Brittany Murphy. Nombre muy americano ese, eh? Brittany. All right, let's take a look at the scene here. Nathan beats Patrick with a broken shovel, con una pala rota, several times. Varios. No es severa, la E del medio lo comemos. Several times till Patrick is down, hasta que está en el suelo, tirado. Then he drops the shovel, déjalo caer, and takes Patrick's gun and holds it against his head. Ooh, man. And he says, I never got your name. Nunca me diste tu nombre. And he says, Patrick. And slowly he says, Patrick, are you sure I'm not like you? Que no soy como tú. Are you sure? And then Nathan cocks the gun. If you didn't know this word, you should listen to the FYI episode on weapons, mi arma. And he cocks the gun, and Patrick freezes in fear. He is petrified, as we say. And Nathan takes the diamond from Patrick's jacket. Otra donde nos comemos una sílaba. No es diamond, it's diamond. Diamond. And he says, was this really worth it? ¿Realmente valió la pena? And Patrick says, what? He says, your life. He goes, absolutely. It's mine. Es mío. And then Nathan looks contemptuously at the vile criminal who killed so many innocent people for the diamond. And then he tosses the diamond into an excavation ditch. Un agujero muy grande donde están excavando. And then kicks Patrick into the ditch and says, then you go get it. Entonces vas tú a por ello. So there you go, my amigos. Great movie. Don't say a word. And now it's time for famous birthday trivia.
Birthdays for me. Famous birthdays for everyone on the show with no name. Birthdays for him. Famous birthdays for her. Famous birthdays for everyone on the show with no name.
That's right, amigos. Famous birthday trivia only on the show with no name. Let's see what we've got here. The first person was born in 1977. And if you were paying attention, I just said her name like 2 minutes ago, like not even 2 minutes ago. Why? Well, we were just talking about a movie that she was in, and it's called Don't Say a Word with Michael Douglas. So it's not Michael Douglas. She was also, and also Michael Douglas is a male, not a female. And she was also in Girl Interrupted. She was in Drop Dead Gorgeous as well. Just Married, Uptown Girls, Happy Feet, but sadly, at the young age of 32, she died. Now, the circumstances are disputed. In fact, there's even a documentary which claims foul play, que ha habido algo ahí que no encaja. Now, the coroner, that's the person who comes and cause of death and all that, they do the autopsy. The verdict, veredicto, nosotros no es verdict, it's verdict. O sea, no hay dos es, solo una. The verdict was pneumonia, exacerbated, empeorado, it's a great word, exacerbated by anemia. But a lot of people said that there was foul play, that she was dating a guy who was not clean at all. And you can see there's a documentary out there that is pretty... my wife and I watched it, and I'll tell you something. I don't know too much about this actress, but it made me feel really bad for her. Again, I don't know the real story, but these are the kind of things, if you want to, things to pique your interest, well, nothing like, an unsolved crime, potentially. Who knows? You can form your own opinions. Number 2, my daughter loves this guy. Well, she's never seen him. She doesn't know what he looks like, but she knows that he sings in the movie Sing and Sing 2. In a sky full of stars, in a sky. And he does all the Elton John songs as well. Very, very talented. And I must say, even though we are of the same sex and I'm heterosexual, he's a good-looking dude. Está todo bueno, eh? Woo, man, he's a good-looking dude. And then you can hear him sing, and what a set of pipes. Como canta el cabro. A veces sobran, right? And so you can see him playing Elton John as well in Rocket Man. And as I said, Sing, where my daughter knows from all the songs, the Sky Full of Stars, I'm Still Standing, and so on and so forth. Oh, and he's Welsh, es Gales. And last but not least, an American comedian and actor. He got famous playing on the sitcom A Different World, which was a spin-off of The Cosbys. And then he was in many movies. Well, he had his own TV show, and it was called The Show. I can't tell you that name because then you'll know it. But he was in the movie Necessary Roughness, House Guest, First Kid, Jingle All the Way, Good Burger, Planes, and he's definitely somebody who, he's not as famous now, but during the 80s and early 90s, this guy was on the cover of everything, at least in the United States. All right, our famous birthday boys and girls. Number 1, Brittany Murphy. Number 2, Taron Egerton. Excellent. He is not really good-looking guy, if I may say so. And I mean that in the, in the straightest way possible. But wow, you got to admit, he's a beautiful guy. And then he opens his mouth and sings, and you're like, wow, what an amazing talent there. So, and his name is Taron Egerton. And last but not least, David Adkins. What? David Adkins. Well, you probably know him, if you know him, as Sinbad. And that'll bring us over to our Say What soundbite. This is Sinbad doing a comedy set. And he says, I think the name of the joke is, everybody's got ADD now. Ahora todos tienen attention deficit disorder. Hablando otra vez de trastornos. And he says, my father, he says, my father, I had ADD. Mi padre, pues yo tenía attention deficit disorder. And he goes, and there was no name for it. No había nombre. He goes, they had a different name. And then this is where he reaches for his belt, como si va a coger el cinturón. He goes, run around this house again. Corretea por esta casa otra vez. Run around this house one more time like you lost your mind. Como si hubieras perdido la cabeza. Ya verás lo que te va a pasar. You're asking for it. Te lo estás buscando, we say. And he goes, now sit down. Y ahora te sientas. And he goes, and quit shaking. Y deja de temblar. He goes, get yourself together, boy. Ponte las pilas, chico. He goes, He cured me of my ADD with no drugs. Me curó de mi attention deficit disorder sin drogas. Very funny. It's birthday boy Sinbad.
My father, I had ADD. There's no name for it. They had a different name. Run around this house again. Run around this house one more time like you lost your mind. Now sit down. Quit shaking. Get yourself together, boy. He cured me of my ADD with no drug.
So yeah, get yourself together, o aún más fácil, get it together. Si quieres el yourself, es sílabas extras. Get it together. All right, well, amigos, it's time for a little musical lesson with today's Name That Lyric.
Hi, hello, Alberto. I think the song is. No? Sorry, bye.
Name that lyric, name that lyric, name that lyric, name that lyric only on the show with no name, the show with no name, the show with no name. It's name that lyric only on the show with no name, the show with no name, the show with no name. It's name that lyric only on the show with no name.
That's right, amigos. It's Name That Lyric only on the show with no name. And as I said, I've got a little surprise for you coming up soon. But first, let's check out today's Name That Lyric. It's Sky Full of Stars. It's a song that my daughter knows. So again, teachers used to tell you, don't watch TV, you're not going to learn. I beg to differ. My daughter's learning how to not only speak English, but she's learning how to harmonize. She sings it on key, clavado. So I personally can't sing it. It's a hard song to sing. That's why Taron Egerton sings it and not me. So he goes, 'cause you're a sky full of stars. I'm going to give you my heart. Te voy a dar mi corazón. 'Cause you're a sky full of stars. Es muy bonita la letra. It's beautiful lyrics here. 'Cause you light up the path. Enciendes el camino. You light up the path. Remember, that's an irregular verb. Light, lit, lit. O sea, está encendido. It's lit, not lighted. It's lit. So he goes, 'cause you light up the path. I don't care. Go on. Tear me apart. Really, I can't even begin to sing it like he does. So he says, I don't care. Me da igual. Go on. Sigue. Tear me apart. We looked at the word tear, tore, torn. Destrózame. Tear me apart. I don't care if you do. 'Cause in a sky full of stars, I think I saw you. Qué bonito. And I think it's better to hear Taron Egerton sing it or my daughter. The only person I don't think you want to hear sing it is me, because they've hit some really high notes. So here it is, amigos. And we'll be right back with part 4. You're a sky full of stars. Sing it. 'Cause you're a sky full of stars. Woo! Hey, amigos, welcome back to this, the 4th and final part of today's show with no name. Come on in, come on in. I told you I've got a little surprise for you, right? Well, I wasn't kidding, folks. I wasn't kidding at all. We were talking about hospitals before. In fact, we looked at some medical terms today on the show. Well, I have decided to do something special here for my show with no namers today. And, well, you know, from time to time, I like to share some bonus content with you. Now, you know, if you want it every week, you know what to do. But if not, from time to time, I like to have a little treat for my show with no namers. Una cosa, un detalle. So this is the hospitals episode, the bonus episode. So many of you have probably not heard it. And if you've heard it, thank you for supporting. Here it is, FYI Hospitals bonus episode. Infirmaries can be interesting and intimidating institutions, but one thing is for certain: the industry is indispensable. We go there to get nursed back to health if we get ill or injured, or go under the knife if need be. In an emergency, we can even be rushed there in an ambulance. While many come out with a clean bill of health, some patients never leave these paramedical places.
Paging Dr. Alonso. Please report to ER ASAP.
We'll make sense of hospitals on this week's episode of FYI. Welcome to For Your Info.
En inglés.
You got it.